The Tudor Marine Nationale released. We discussed the new Snoopy watches. Some interesting news has come out about watch sales in the Swiss watch industry last year. We discuss Orient watches. Welcome back to Casual Watch Talk. You're joined by Sam and Chris. Chris, how have you been?
I've been good. I'm good. And you?
I've not been too bad.
Yeah.
Not been too bad. I was a little bit late with last week's podcast. I apologise, everyone. I got it out on a Saturday, which normally I try and get it out on a Thursday.
Yeah.
So
we'll do a little follow up with the Tudor scoop, the Tudor FXD scoop. We were right there, but we the details came out between our production schedule. So yeah.
Well, should we do a little bit of a wristwatch check?
Sure.
Because shall I go first? I'll go first. I'm excited. I'm going for it. I got my new Speedtimer.
Hey!
So I got the new Seiko Speedtimer. It's on this Barton leather strap. It's a new watch, so I'm changing the watch strap about 10 times a day, I think, at a time, just to see what works on it. I did a joint review, a collab review with TJ, who's big friend to a show, our military expert that we have on occasionally. He's got the black dial version, and I've got the blue dial version.
Oh, so like a combo review. Nice.
A combo review, exactly. So that'll be coming out soon. There'll be plenty of shots of this watch. When I first got it, just a 5-minute review. When I first got it, it is smaller than a Seiko. Not smaller than other watches, but it's smaller than you would used to Seiko chronographs, because it's gone for that vintage style. But once you get used to it, it fits really well. I mean, I've got it on a NATO here that's kind of bulging a little bit, but I took it straight off the stock bracelet. Wasn't crazy about that. I'll go into more of that in the review. Yeah. I've had it either on an Uncle Seiko razor wire, or I've even had it on a bun strap. I've had it on NATO's. It really looks good, and pretty impressed with it.
I sent Sam a picture of the old original Speedtimer, the blue on that, and I think they absolutely nailed that color match. I mean, with that. What are you delighted with the blue? You like it?
Yes. Nice. Yeah. I really like the blue. You're right. It in different lights. Sometimes it's black. It looks purple in bright light, or it's like a nice sort of navy blue in some of the lights. The way they've incorporated the solar panels into the small chronographs, I like as well. My only complaint is I think they could have got away with doing it slightly bigger. TJ totally disagrees. He thinks it's the spot, the perfect size. But as I get used to it, I mean, I was wearing a turtle for a week before then, and it's about the same size as the Christopher Ward. I think it's just that because there's a lot going on with the dial.
Yeah, busy on the dial. I put mine back on the bracelet, so this is my Bell & Ross GMT, my everyday, and then back on the bracelet for winter, which is a process as usual. But we had some crazy unseasonable weather here. Was up in the 90s, so that's a thing for November now, I guess. And yeah, I didn't know what to do, and I'm ready for the winter, fall, cold. I want to enjoy leather strap. I want to enjoy, back on the bracelet, this kind of stuff. So it was very, like, what is going on? So it was like a couple 90-degree days, and then we're back down into normal Southern California. So it's, cold at night. I'm using air quotes for those listening, and down in the 50s at night. So that's my level of cold that I enjoy.
Yeah, it's been a bit. Believe it or not, it's been a bit colder in the evenings in Florida. Actually, the last couple of evenings have been cooler. It's funny because one of the nights it was actually colder than it was in Manchester, because my wife always compares the weather apps. But anyway, this is we're on a tangent here. This isn't casual weather talk.
Nope, keep it back. Yep.
Should we do another thrilling episode of Hit or Miss? Today, Chris, it's a long time since we poked fun at Braemont, and I think it's been overdue, but they've released the Dirty Dozens watch that they have, so a military-inspired watch, but they've blinged it up a bit. They've DLC-coated it for the audio listeners. It's got rose gold three handsets. It's got the small seconds. All the hands are rose gold, and it's got this rose gold crown. And it just struck me, Chris. It's a military watch inspired by a historical military watch. Does it suit the blinged up treatment? Do you think?
Yeah, I don't understand their design take here with the gold and the PVD. It could look sharp, but at the same time, because it's based on, and they literally are saying that it's based on that.
It's an armed forces, supports the armed forces. It says it's even got the British insignia on the back of all three arms on services.
Yeah, I mean, maybe when we, maybe back in, 2142 when we fought the Clone Wars and the rise of the AI, when we, would have the black PVD, mechanical PVD watches.
Yeah, because nobody can have a smart
right,
watch
exactly.
in case it's spying. Everyone has to go mechanical.
Yeah, exactly.
We're all steampunk.
Yep, exactly. Like silicon hairspring, so it's magnets can't mess it up, and then of course this is once we got over that resistance movement. I mean, that's kind of what it feels like. It's too sports modern for me.
Yeah,
I don't think any of those should have been. There was no such there's no PVD from that era.
No, and to be honest, one of the things that didn't shock me, which it does usually shock me about Braemon, is the price. I mean, they're knocking this out at $3,795, which is expensive, but for a Braemon, I mean, sometimes I thought they were going to go straight in with this is X number of carats rose gold.
Right.
This is a limited edition.
This would be a 7,500. Yeah,
$7,500,
10,000. Yeah, exactly. This is all right. Well, good that it's priced for those who can afford that to celebrate
What?
No, I'm gonna say I didn't fight in the AI wars, so I'm gonna say it's a miss for me.
Not yet.
Not yet. Oh, maybe it's a future classic.
It's a future
classic. Yes.
I don't mind the look of it, but I think it's a bit of a miss, really, isn't it? I mean, it's a military-inspired watch. It's a field watch. It's the Dirty Dozen watch, they've even called it. It's got the Ministry of Defence stuff on the back. I'm not sure really what they're going for with the black on
and the gold. I mean, the rose gold. I mean, that's such a design pick. Kind of a strange pick.
Well, let's dive in with our first story, and with my sort of late listing of the podcast last week. This was an in-between story that we need to follow up on, and that is that they have now released the Tudor. I'm calling it Marine National, but its proper
FXD.
name is the FXD,
which I guess means fixed.
You were really keen to see what this turned out as, weren't you? So, were you impressed with it? Were you? How do you feel?
After it officially hit, I realized that the Pelagos or the Pelagos, however you want to pronounce it, because there was kind of 50-50 on that. On the Pelagos, I feel like this is the watch that I want to love, but for whatever reason, it just keeps, there's always something. And I think this is just going to be that watch for me, which is kind of, so let's take a moment to say, I think it looks great. I think it's an amazing piece. If you go get one of these, I love the blue on it. I think they did a great job. And now I'll stop and say how this would maybe fit into my collection, how this would fit in how I would use it, or sort of how I see it. It is not going to come with any sort of bracelet. So it's this fixed lugs with their Tudor special strap. It is 22 millimeters, so that's at least a normie size, which is great. So you can put punch it. So this thing will eat NATOs all day long that match with the blue dial. Titanium. So we thought maybe it was stainless steel. It's titanium. I'm okay with that. And we've had the discussion about scratching titanium, but I think this is fine. There was no helium escape valve. We confirmed that. And then kind of the last bit was the actual Marine National that they were giving away has 2 lines of text. This has 4. And I was actually incorrect. The current one has 5. So I forgot that it also says ... So it's 5 lines of text. So For me, I'm going to pass because of the bracelet option. I am just one of those people. I'm wearing a bracelet right now. If my hope is that they do like the Black Bays, that there'll be other versions of this that come out, but the fact that it's the FXD, I don't know. And in my collection, and we discussed this a little, I kind of think I'm over dive watches. Like that's just kind of not my. I know. I believe that the reason why I was super interested in dive watches originally was for their practicality of their water resistance. And so now that I'm been in the hobby for a while and collecting for a while, I know that all my other watches are 100 meters water resistant, and they're never going to see more than 30 feet of water in their life. So it's totally fine. And so again, like I said, so let's, separate this up like me or you. And then for you, or, for our listeners, what they want and what I want, not necessarily the same, totally fine. And then for you, big pass on the no date.
I actually really like the look of this. I think $3,900 is not a bad price. I like the flatness of the dial. It's definitely the evolution of the Pelagos. I don't mind the integrated lugs, to be honest. And the fact that it's got this, actually it's issued to the military now, also is a huge appeal. I actually even looked to see whether you could buy the watch strap separately.
Oh, all right.
Because it looks like a pretty cool, but I couldn't.
With the one piece buckle that they've got going on there. Yep.
I do really like the look of it, but like you said, I wish it had the date on it. I know I'm obsessed with the date on watches. And I've tried in the past, with the exception of the Rolex I've got that doesn't have the date on, but I've tried owning watches in the past where, I had the Black Bay 58 and it did bother me, and my tastes have changed because I wore a Speedmaster for 10 years and didn't think anything of it. But now I just know that I really like the date on a watch, and I've tried to trick myself previously with no date watches, and I've just never really.
I don't know if I said this to you, but definitely, I'm going to give you the enjoy it while it lasts, because you're not quite old enough yet. But once you start, not being able to see the wristwatch without the magnification of glasses, and you're like trying to read the date. Like I was at the UPS store trying to read the date, and I was like, with my arm like all goofy stretched out, and I was like, I'm not putting my reading glasses on. Is it what day is it? It's the 17th, 18th. What is it? so enjoy it while, you know what? Have that while it lasts. I'll give it to you.
Well, let us know, guys, what you think over on the Facebook group. Also, we've been trying the new Discord group as well. Still in its experimental phase. We'll open it out to a bit of a wider audience, but it's been pretty nice. It's a direct messaging system.
It's nice. Instant feedback. It's nice.
Next story, and this is a little fun, cheeky one. We're coming up to Christmas, so it's good to have a little bit of a funny one. This is, and I quite like these, this is the new Swatch Peanuts collaboration. So for audio listeners, Swatch are releasing a whole bunch of Peanuts, the Peanuts characters, so Snoopy and Charlie Brown, etc. I think they look pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, they're super fun.
There's some nice designs. They've done some pretty interesting designs. I'm not sure which one. It's a pity they haven't done a Snoopy in space one, because they've got that new Snoopy in space cartoon. Plus, it would really appeal to us sort of space watch fans as well.
It's like a good Omega crossover episode.
Yeah, exactly. I think I would probably go for the blue one
like that.
I'm showing here. I like that the most.
Cool.
And so they're reasonably priced. They're $100. I'm sure there's people that'll will collect the full set. Some of them have got interesting hands. So some of them have just got normal straight hands, but there's one that's got baseball and a baseball mitt on them, and then this one with the blue hand's got Woodstock on it, and the other hand, I can't quite tell what the other hand is there. Looks like it's a dog, a bowl full of dog food.
There you go.
On the tip of the hand.
Nice. Yeah. Definitely good. Good for good Christmas ideas. This is good. Yeah. Yeah, fun. Like, so if you know anybody that's, I mean, I think like all ages, anybody that's, men, women, girls, boys, a fun Snoopy watch in the collection. I think that's cool.
Next story we're going to move on to is, this is something that, Chris, caught your eye on monochrome watches. Let me just pull it up here. This is, well, the title of it I think is a bit misleading, to be honest. It says the top 50 Swiss watch brands. I said that too fast, didn't I? The top 50 Swiss watch brands of 2020, and the invincible harmony.
It's hegemony. Is that how you say that? Oh my god, I'd have to look. I've never heard that word.
Hegemony of Rolex. Yeah. I think they're trying to be a little bit cheeky. Somebody's going to correct us and be and berate me for.
So it's hegemony. Yeah. Hegemony. Yeah, leadership or dominance, especially by one country or social group over others.
One country, live dictionary check.
One country. I love it. Oh.
Is it like homogeny then?
No, it's HEG.
Like... Oh yeah. Okay. Well,
it's it's hegemony. Hegemony. Now, all right. So everyone, you've learned a new word today.
You've learned a new word.
Hegemony, exactly. Which is leadership or dominance. All right, of Rolex. Perfect.
Well, yeah. So it's interesting actually, and this, I don't know whether this shocked me, but it said that because of the COVID pandemic, obviously, watch sales went down. But we were reporting at the time that, I mean, people seem to be going crazy. I know the factories sort of partially shut down and things like that, but it goes through some of the watch sales statistic. It's been the worst year for watch sales since 2011, the steepest decline. But Chris, this kind of caught your eye, didn't it? This top 50 watch brands of 2020 estimated market share and sales.
Yeah. So, the big players here, but it's fascinating to see the sort of the reach of some of these brands, or the ones that maybe even we talk about all the time, or mention. And then how many actual units they sell, what their percentage of the market is, imperceptible in some. I mean, you would think like Vacheron, you would like, oh, they have to be pumping out, a bunch of watches, or Richard Mille. Every F1 driver walking around with a Richard Mille, and every other F1 team sponsored by them, and they're not even close to Rolex. They're not close to Omega. They're not close to Cartier. Longines is a.
That was a surprise, wasn't it? Longines, 6.2% of the market. Rolex is in at 24.9%, and it kind of jokes here that Omega does have a big market share at 8.8%, but Rolex is actually bigger than all of the Swatch,
right, of those groups
put together.
Yeah, and the Richard Mille, by the way, 2.5% in this particular chart. So, little fascinating takeaway. And then there's a little further down, they have the actual like number of units sold on the big list. And
yeah, they must have been guessing this, because I don't know Rolex ever released that, but Rolex, I mean, that number of units sold, 810,000 watches. And we've been talking about a constraint in the market. And then, of course, our Rolex AD friend, he's been saying that, no, it's the demand has just gone absolutely crazy, hasn't it? So,
so just right on the top of there, that, I mean, they are the leader, the king, as they have been, and they will continue to be. And Omega, coming in second with 500,000. But some of the interesting takeaways there. This is what was this listed by? Turnover of
So turnover, it's actually, if you look, if you can see this, you probably can't because it's so tiny. And I said Rolex AD friend, I need to do a shout out to Justin. His name is Justin. Hi, Justin. It's very hard to see here. In fact, let me try and zoom in here, but I don't think that's going to make it much better. But yeah, it's turnover in Swiss francs. Right. That's what CHF is, if anybody's not familiar. So
yeah, they kind of like an interesting order here of how they sold it, and some of the top contenders, their numbers. I mean, like for example, like Richard Mille, 4,300 number of units sold. So. But their average order price 183,000. It's just an incredible number,
Tissot as well. I mean, their average order 415 Swiss francs, which is Tissot has some of that's like a mid range for them, so that's quite good average. And then this was one of the standouts for me, how well Longines does, and it's probably because of this. The Chinese market is Longines is very well respected in the Asian markets, and average price of 1,313. So
pretty good price point, and 1.5 million units moved by them.
That's the most, isn't it, in the top? Far exceeds Rolex, as you would expect it to.
Yeah. I mean,
Cartier right up there as well.
So I mean, as far as like number produced, so Swatch is the big. We're just talking about the Snoopy watches. So Swatch is doing 3.1 million, and then second place is Tissot with 2.4 million units moved.
What's interesting is that Omega, we think about them pumping out watches left, right, and center, but they actually only did 500,000 in comparison to. But that means they're number 2, and their average order value is 5,626 Swiss francs. Is there any you'd say? Maybe even looking at the top 20 or the top 30 that you wouldn't expect them to be there. Like you were surprised. I mean, for me. If I was going to go, the ones I was surprised at seeing was Hermes. They're at 21. Bulgari, I suppose, and Breguet, they're up there. Blancpain as well. They sell a lot of watches, but Blancpain's one of those ones that you never really see on forums. I don't know anyone that owns a Blancpain, or I don't think anyone on our forum or any of the other forums. You might see the odd one, but...
no, it's not a, like, there is a, is it... Yeah, I think the Swiss Watch Gallery in the mall near me carries Blancpain, and I've seen some of their stuff. But yeah, here again, like you have this like, you have a watch company that's not necessarily like on the tip of everyone's tongue, but 21,000 units, average of, let's see. I mean, $17,000. Wow, there is a lot of Blancpain that I am not paying attention to.
A lot of white bread.
So, and further down, you talk about like one that sort of stood out to me. Further down in 39, was this inconspicuous one called CK Watch, Calvin Klein watch. I had to look it up because I was like, CK Watch, what is this? 325,000 units. Their average value of 318, but making that part of the Swatch Group list, CK Watch. So,
and these are all Swiss watch brands, aren't we? That's why we're not seeing the likes of Seiko or Casio. I mean, they're by volume, they would be right up there, wouldn't they? So this is we're just talking Swiss watch brands here. Yeah, it's a fascinating. We'll leave a link to the article in. It's a lot for us to digest on here. They did a very thorough job, and in fact, some of these, just a little disclaimer they put on here. These figures actually come from a Morgan Stanley research that they did, as opposed to it wasn't. These aren't monochrome watches.
It's not their numbers. Yeah, exactly. They are pulling some numbers, and then the other caveat, which you kind of started with, which is the Swiss watch industry does release some of these numbers as a total. So but then it's sort of, you have to, it's left up to you to figure out, like, well, how much of that is Rolex, how much is that Omega. The Swiss are very proud of their Swiss watchmaking and their exports. I mean, they treat it like, it is absolutely a number one industry for them. So like in the same way that you can get the report on the, from the pier at Long Beach, how many ship containers, et cetera, in that same sort of, quarterly report method, you can get it for Swiss watches. So it's pretty interesting.
And this one last thing on this article, I thought this was an interesting mention. They put, as we mentioned before, the market is turning more and more towards premium products. This can be explained by stiff competition in the entry-level segment provoked by strong growth registered by smartwatches. In 2016, the Swiss watch industry was still producing about 25 million watches. That same year, 22 million connected watches were sold. In 2020, only 13.8 million Swiss watches were exported, while about 75 million connected watches were produced. And this has a direct impact on sales of Swiss quartz watches and entry-level mechanical Swiss.
And, as we said before, these smartwatches, they're not, they're software limited. So they're kind of end of life 3, 4, 5 years, and then they're end of life. But, as a theme of the show, if you want to survive the singularity, get yourself a mechanical watch that will survive anything.
Next one, Chris, was something that we've not talked about this brand for a long time. We occasionally mention them, don't we? But you've been looking into Orient a bit, haven't you?
Yeah.
What was it about Orient that's kind of, you think?
I just saw a video. I think it was it Teddy that did the Bambino? And I discovered that they don't call them that anymore. There was apparently a lawsuit, and they can't call them that anymore. But that, are these still sort of relevant, and are, is what is Orient doing now? Maybe 2 years ago, we had a conversation about the best value dive watch. I think this is still true. Orient. They've got their Kamasu line and some of their other stuff. I mean, like right now, and how many, a sideline here, how many luxury brands get guff for cutting their prices, right? For taking a $3,000 watch and, they're going to sell it for $2,800 or like a coupon.
Well, there's been that controversy, haven't they, about the brand that Mr. Christopher Ward, Christopher Ward himself, when he left Christopher Ward, he set up another brand, and I think he left to set this brand up, and I believe people will remember this, but I believe it was with his two sons, and that brand, the name escapes me. Can you remember the name of the brand, Chris?
No.
They've essentially, so they were called Trebus as the brand, and for some reason, I don't know whether it's not going well or what, but the Trebus brand, they're selling them at 80% off.
Wow.
The current price. So let me just... They've got, which Trebus was supposed to be their take on their, Christopher Ward's, where he went next with his sons. He was creating this watch brand, Black Friday sale. They've got like 70% off these watches.
Wow. Now,
this was the first time, honestly, that I've looked at them in look, they're all sold out, but God, they spent a lot of money in R&D making these watches look cheap.
Yeah,
I mean, this looks like a micro brand from China that is knocking out these budget quartz watches. I don't quite know what they were thinking there. No, sorry if anybody owns one of these, and I'm sure you love it, but
I mean, well,
to me, it just...
I mean, yeah, but if you owned one and you paid full price for them a year ago, I'd be mad. I mean, nothing that we're gonna say here is gonna affect that. Yeah, I had heard of the brand originally, but I'd not seen anything from the brand. So that's that's sort of a telltale. Like, what price percentage is too cheap? What and I think the beyond 50% feels like a ruse to me. Especially if you bought one before the sale.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look here. You've got this 13,000. Is it in pounds?
1,300.
Says apply code TREBA. 1,329 pounds. Apply code TREBUS70 at checkout to save 70%. Other than Invicta's cheeky little sales, I can't think of another watch brand.
Well, this maybe answers the question. I think I know where Christopher Ward's original pricing method came from. I think I now realize what the problem was, and maybe it was Christopher Ward as pricing these into the deep discount stuff. So back to Orient. Here's a brand that has done this for a while. So the Kamasu right now, like, they have it listed for $460 and it's on sale for $280. Now, I don't think anybody paid $460 for it. I think when it was new, when those first came out, I think they were, on sale, and I'm using air quotes again, for, was it like $390 or something? It was something like that.
Yeah, this was, I mean, if anybody's not familiar, Orient is a Seiko-owned company. So technically they're in-house movements.
Correct.
You would say. I mean, they're branded.
Yep.
They're branded. Yep. And I've owned one. They're very well made. Some people roll them around about the logo's too ornate, but I thought this was interesting. They've got like a little cheeky SKX going on.
Oh yeah. So I was looking at their sort of new releases, and they've got some interesting colorways that remind me of SKX. Remind me of some of the older Seiko 5s, like almost like a vintage, like that one with the gold in the middle. I don't think that's my cup of tea, but it's certainly reminds me of some of those early Seiko 5s, from the 70s and 80s.
The thing with the Orient is they're not afraid to do an experiment, are they? And they've had some quite wacky, well, maybe not wacky to the people that own them, but they've had some very interesting looking watches in the past, haven't they? They don't mind trying new things and making.
So I mean, I looked under their new arrival stuff. Their new M-Force, a little funky, kind of a cross between a G-Shock and a dive, like maybe a Monster, like a Seiko Monster versus G-Shock kind of combo here.
Interesting indices, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry, this is awful for our audio listeners. They're like a larger watch, aren't they? Comes on a NATO. It's hard to explain. It's definitely a unique. It's got a compass bezel as well, which you don't see a lot, do you? On a dive inspired watch.
Big heavy compass bezel. It's got kind of like these black. Now the ones that come on bracelets have that in. It looks like metal, but has these like crown guards on the side. Some beefy crown guards coming out of the side. So you're right. They're not afraid to try stuff. I still like the classic stuff they do. We were chatting on the Facebook group about Moon Phase. Lots of Moonwatch on the channel, but watches with the Moon Phase complication, and inexpensive Moon Phase definitely from Orient. And some, I think if you are in a position where you need a sharp looking dress watch, that can get you started in the collecting world of mechanical watches, and even if you didn't go any further, I don't think you'd have a problem with any of these. And again, for value, price per what you get for value, I think they're great.
Yeah, I always like these ones. There's just something about them. It looks like it reminds me of a watch that you'd see on that British TV show Only Fools and Horses, because it looks a bit like a Rolex.
Deneb, the Deneb, Deneb.
I like it. Actually, I might just buy it. I mean, they're on sale for $120. Right, yeah. I mean, it'd be rude not to. Speaking
of Christmas.
That was it. Let us know in the comment section down below if you own an Orient, what you think of them. I've owned I called it the Mako, and people persecuted me on YouTube for it. So apparently it's Mako, but yeah. I'm going to stick with Mako. Thanks to I noticed Ben on Ben's Watch Club the other day did a review. Big shout out to Ben. Did a review of the Hamilton khaki, and he said khaki. And I know everyone always comments when I say it that it's khaki and khaki, because both, yeah, because exactly, it sounds too posh for me and Ben that are from the north of England. But before we wrap up here, I know this has been requested in the comments section and on the Facebook group and on the Discord. Collection review, hasn't it, Chris? Like your and my collection review, because I haven't done one on the channel for a while. We did a joint one, didn't we, of yours?
Yeah, a while ago. Wow, that's it's been a while. Yeah, that's been a ways. That's the early days of Sam and Chris. Yeah, early days. Yes, back when we could hang out. Well, we're getting past that and able to hang out in person more and more, which is good. Yeah, I'm excited to kind of talk about it. I think I learned a bunch of things this year about, adding different watches to my collection. I think the one of my sort of opening takeaways is I always have one too many.
Yeah, so we're teasing a future episode, probably near the Christmas time, when we're looking for a chill out episode.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard for our audio listeners. We'll have to quite work out how to do that, but we can talk through them. So I'll be probably review my collection, and then we'll review Chris's collection. You might be surprised about mine.
That's yes. And there's some surprises there for sure. It's going to be like now what are you looking for? Are you on the hunt for anything? That's what I want to know. Like, what's your 2022? You have any watch collecting goals for 2022, or you're just leaving it up to you're still saving for the house?
We're saving up for the house, so I need to get into the house, and then I need to settle down. The only watch that I keep, there's a couple that I keep going back to in my mind that I would like to own as a collector at one time, and Grand Seiko always hits.
Yeah.
It's there. I haven't quite. It's not that I definitely want a spring drive, even though I know the high beat's good.
Yeah,
I want to own a spring drive. They're expensive, so you're looking down the nose of $5,000, but which I don't mind spending that. It's just that there's not one. There's maybe one or two that have fully captured me at that price. I'm excited to see. But I'm going to wait. I need to save the money, and I'm going to wait to see what they come out with next year, Grand Seiko. But I've definitely got Grand Seiko in my mind, just because I'm intrigued about the spring drive technology.
Yeah, I was. I mean, the Tudor, the Pelagos sort of caught me in the. I had just made a purchase, and then with my 10th year anniversary Bell and Ross that I picked up. That was like just a last minute thing. So I mean that my 2022 budget has already got a big chunk taken on it. So I think that's gonna be it for a while. So this will be sort of an interesting way to look back and talk about it. And obviously also we'd like to see and talk about what you guys are hoping to collect and add to the collection. So join us in the discussion over at the Facebook group and down in the comments. Let us know what you're looking forward to.
Absolutely. Well, that's the end of this week's show. We really appreciate you watching. Let us know in the comments section down below. Join us over on Facebook. We'll let you know future iterations of the Discord group. We really appreciate you watching and listening, and we'll see you next time on Casual Watch Talk. Thanks, guys. Bye.